And here's a really interesting one to me, increasing diversity. Anyone with a program have a focus on diversity? There's been things written, actually by me a few years ago. I have a blog post out there somewhere where you run the danger with an employee referral program of hurting your diversity. Because if you're incredibly non-diverse and people refer people like them, you just perpetuate that problem. But there are some really interesting things you can do on the diversity side. And I'll give you an example with Cisco. So, huge company, and they will tell you they have a diversity challenge. They have a lot of white males that work for them. And even though they're in the San Francisco Bay Area, there still is a huge challenge for them. And just this year, so they're only 2 quarters in, but they've launched a very targeted diversity effort in their employee referral program. And what they're doing is using their employee resource organizations. They call them EROs. Some of you might call them employee resource groups or affinity groups. How many of your companies have these? Whether they're the women's business group or a military group, African American workers, anything along those lines. Lots of companies have these. And Cisco's gotten really smart, and they have partnered with their EROs, as they call them, to focus on employee referrals. And they have gone out and worked with each of those organizations to talk about, how do you refer someone? Just informing your employees, because sometimes they just don't know. Talk about what makes a good Cisco employee. Go through some of the hot positions with them and encourage them to refer people. And they are tracking who's a member of which ERO and how many referrals they're getting in through that system. And in just 2 quarters, and it's still brand new, I think they have 15 EROs and they're really actively working with 7 or 8 of them. They have seen a 30% increase in the diversity of the referral population coming from their EROs when you compare it to a non-ERO referral. And they're really starting to see it come in, and they're starting to see that reflected in their candidate slates, and they're starting to see it reflected in their hiring. And it's really going to be a year out before they have really solid data, but it's being run out of their diversity and inclusion office, and the head of that is just so excited about the results that the other EROs are coming to them and saying, hey, we want to play. Get us in here. And now they're getting into gamification, and they're putting contests between the organizations to see if the Hispanic business group can bring in more than the former military group, and they're putting it up on their intranet and making it gamified. This doesn't require them to buy anything. It's time. And they're going out and talking to people and sharing that information, but they're really increasing their diversity. So if you have functions like that in your company and employee groups along those lines, that's a great way to go. Or even just reach out to your high potential diverse employees and talk to them about who you're looking for and see who they might know. It's a really interesting way to do that. So I expect, as more people, and a few of you raised your hands, I fully expect that diversity starts to become a little bit more of a focus of a lot of employee referral programs as we move forward.